My mission is to position brands and to facilitate earning opportunities by helping them identify and strategically communicate their what, their who, and their why. I make sure you understand the play. Here's your assist. Understand the play. The business point guard. Understand the play. The business point guard. Understand the play. He gave me an assist.
You're listening to Understanding the Play with Demetrius L. Brown, a.k.a. the Business Point Guard.
How's everybody doing today? That's right, it's Demetrius L. Brown, a.k.a. the Business Point Guard. I want to thank you for joining me today. And again, as usual, we are going to have a nice show. To position brands and to facilitate earning opportunities. Hold on, y'all. Yeah, a little technical difficulty. Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We're going to keep it moving right there. You know, I guess the intro is so dope, man. It really wanted to replay itself. But as usual, we're going to have a nice dynamic show. We have a great guest today. But let me tell you why I do Understanding the Play. It's a lot of people out here trying to reach their defined level of success, and they need the right tools and resources to help them get there. And again, I'm bringing people in that have accomplished some things that reach levels in their life that is just unbelievable. But they just didn't get there easily. It wasn't an easy road for them. They had their falls, they had their ups, they had their downs, but they continued to push. And guess what? They had the right resources and they had the right tools to get to that next level. And why do I go by the business point guard? Because think about it. In basketball, you only need 5 players. You don't need a big team to make things happen. And what does a point guard do? They control it. They look at it from the offense, from the defense, and they help people win. The point guards help people set up the plays, and that's what I'm doing business-wise in life. I'm helping you set up the plays that help you reach that next level of success. I mean, your defined level of success, okay? That's what we're talking about, your defined level of success. Nobody else's success, but your defined level of success. And again, we got to get out of that moment of saying, okay, man, I want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. You don't want to be like them. You might want to do some of the things that they're doing, but we just pay attention to how they get there. But I'm about to go on a break. And we're going to bring my special guest. This is a very special guest because this next guest, he helped mold my life. So again, when we come back, I'm going to bring our special guest on. Go tell somebody, hey, the business point guard is on. Understanding the players on. Get your paper, pencils, pads, everything you need. And when we come back from break, we will have our special guest. Hey, are you following me on social media? You're not? Oh, no. You're missing out on a lot of info. Hey, check this out. Follow me on all social medias. Instagram, The Business Point Guard. YouTube, The Business Point Guard. And Facebook, Demetrius L. Brown, SOG. Make sure you're following me.
You're listening to Understanding the Play with Demetrius L. Brown, a.k.a. the Business Point Guard.
Welcome back to Understanding the Play. It is Demetrius L. Brown, a.k.a. the Business Point Guard. And again, I told you we had a very special guest tonight. And this guest right here, he helped mold my life. You know, when I was the knucklehead in high school doing things I shouldn't be doing, you know, he dragged me in and said, hey, I think this right here can change your life. I think you can do this. You know, yes, I was in drama for people who can't believe it. But I want to introduce my special guest, Mr. Wendell Tabb. Mr. Tabb, how you doing, man?
Hello, Demetrius. What's going on, my brother? Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. I'm doing good, man. It's an honor to have you on, man.
Well, likewise, I've followed you for a very long time, and I'm just very, very proud of you. And that is a dope intro, man.
Thank you. That's Bull City. I had Skaz do it, DJ Skaz. So, I kept it in the Bull City, man.
There you go. Well, it's awesome.
Man, so right quick, I just want to go back down memory lanes and bring people up to speed. When I I was a behavior child. You know, my mother, father divorced. I was going through some things. I was back and forth from Charleston to Durham. You know, my last stint in Durham, I call it stint. I was at Hillside, and you know, I made up my mind. I want to graduate because I stayed in trouble, and I don't know how I walked into the drama department or the auditorium, but you said, "Hey, I bet if you do this, you would like this, and this can keep you out of trouble." And I joined. You was doing Dreamgirls, the production of Dreamgirls. I didn't know how to sing. I didn't know how to do nothing, you know. But you said, "Hey, you can do this right here," and I got the part of Cece. And through that whole process, oh man, it was just unbelievable because now I was with a group of kids that was like-minded, who wanted to succeed, who weren't out there doing bad things. It was just a different ball game. And then you introduced me to some adults because I think for one of the plays after I graduated, Cece, something happened, and we like, "Hey, come on over here. I'm gonna let you play the Cece, one of the adult plays." And you know, the whole process changed my life, and I just wanted the world to hear, you know, why this guest is so special. And Mr. Tabb, why was it so important for you to make sure you brought in kids? And I noticed you deal with kids that nobody else probably would deal with. They would think it's a waste of time. Why do you say, "I'm going to take my time, I'm going to show these kids the way, and I'm going to use something that nobody else is using as drama"?
Well, you know, it's so important that people look at individuals as first who they are, but also understanding that we don't know everything about them. And until you bring them in and put them on that stage, when the audience comes, they're just going to see their success. So it's all about putting success in front of people. And even though they may not understand who they really are, what their background is like, but when all of y'all were on the stage, nobody asked, "Well, is Demetrius' mom and dad not together? Is, you know, what kind of trouble is Demetrius in?" All they saw was, "Look at this young man doing a really wonderful job," although they didn't know the background. So putting everybody together eliminates all the questions sometimes of what people are really going through, because now they get to see the success of the person instead of what's negative.
That's good. That's good. And this is why I call him, this young man is very successful. And now I want to open up the envelope now to run down, man, your success, the things that you have been doing out here. But I wanted to let people know why you do what you do. Now let's recognize your success, because honestly, when we define our level of success and we find that vehicle to get us there, the right vehicle, that's how we are very successful. Excuse me. Now, let the people know, besides teaching high school for over 30 years, drama,
Yes,
am I
sir.
correct? For over 30
Yes.
years,
35
years. Let people know your success, your track record in drama. Drama. I'm saying that. Not the drama that we see in the street. We talking about like Broadway. We talking about doing plays, Black Nativity. So we're talking about that drama department. Let people know your success. And if people watching this, look at all those trophies back there. You got all those trophies back there. But let people know your success in drama and playing in the plays.
Well, the interesting things about the trophies that are behind me, they represent what is going to be given to the students. So, and that keeps me reminded of let the students know that they have done well. And so I keep those behind me as a reminder that I should always recognize the people's success, even when they're doing the small things, is very important. But I've been very fortunate. I started acting when I was 5 years old. I'm doing recitals in church. I'm from Lewisburg, North Carolina, Franklin County, country boy, and didn't really know a lot about performing arts. I just knew that everybody back in my hometown either was singing in the church, or they were playing some kind of instrument. That was pretty much it for performing arts. But for me, back then I was all about spoken word, even though I didn't even know I was doing spoken word. But I I wanted to get up in front of church congregations and recite things. It was important for me to put that word out to them in a dramatic way. And so from that, I was given opportunities to continue to perform in churches all across Franklin County and other places. And then, when I got to fourth grade in elementary school, my Spanish teacher put me in a musical performance, and I had to dance. And that's when I said, oh, so this is the other part of performing arts, which was dance. That being a country boy and with the rules of the church back then, dancing wasn't it. You couldn't dance, especially a male. So she put me in a dance performance. And then when I got to high school, Lewisburg High School, I did my first play. But what's interesting also in my success is that I was an athlete. So I was a basketball player. I played baseball. I ran track. So understanding what success looked like from the athletic point helped me understand what success could look like as an artist. And so then I took a teaching job at Hillside High School after getting to Durham to college in North Carolina Central. And from that, I don't normally like to talk about myself, but because of the success of the students at Hillside, we were able to win so many awards, statewide, national recognition, and a lot of students who have gone on who've done wonderful things. We have a student from Hillside on Broadway right now in Fat Ham, which is getting a lot of buzz in New York. And then, of course, we have students who have gone on to be on in television shows, movies, and, of course, theater. And also behind the scenes, like what you're doing. That's also the success of the theater program. So I've won over 100 plus awards. And so here again, I don't like to talk about myself and what I've done, except for related back to the people that are in my life that allowed me to do some of the things that I wanted to do.
No, that's good. You said something key. Your awards reflect back on the success of the students. Man, that's something great, because again, a lot of people, they don't relate their success to anybody else. They relate, I pulled my own self up. I did it myself. I was this great person. But you understand the success of the students is what pushed you into your successful role. Now, you said we had students you had students that went on to be in Broadway. Now, I came up, I was in Dreamgirls, 93. April Parker, she was in Dreamgirls with me. She's been in what, CSI. She's doing Tyler Perry movies. She's doing some great things. Nikki Everton, she's doing some great things. And the funny thing is, I ran into Nikki when I was in New York too. We talked briefly, and I think she was here. So, but to look back on TV, it's like, man, I taught that person. Oh man, she was in my drama. What goes through your heart sitting on the couch, man? Just you and your wife, the kids sitting there. What goes through your mind, man?
Well, I wish I got I wish I got more opportunities to sit on the couch with my wife and son and can talk about some things. But in this business, they always saying, "Well, Dad, what you got next? What you going? Where you going now?" But what really goes through my mind when I see the success of people who I've had, the fortunate opportunity to train, is that it wasn't done in vain. I realized that God gave me a calling to be a blessing to others. And so when I see them, I just say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, for allowing me to be in their life, which helps me with my success, but it also is, elevating them to another level, which is the best feeling, an educator can have when they see the success of their students.
Man, that's good. Hey, if you just tuned in, you're listening to Understanding the Play, and I am Demetrius L. Brown, a.k.a. the Business Point Guard, and we do have the drama. Can we call you a guru? Can we call it a drama guru? What's the right title for that area? But we have Mr. Wendell Tabb on here. Again, he is very special, and he played an intricate part in a lot of people's life, a lot of adults right now, life to the success that they're doing right now, even in my life. But let's talk about blacks in theater. Let's talk about blacks in theater, drama, however people want to label it. It's a disconnect there, and can you break that down a little bit more?
Well, you know what, I think the disconnect sometimes is just us understanding the performing artist. You know, that it's a gift. You know, it's a gift that they have, and sometimes unless it's in, you know, other areas, like right now, you know, things are in science and IT, and people push for that, and so they kind of hesitate a lot of times to embrace the child's talent. And it goes back to even parents, you know, and I'm not stepping on anybody's toes, as they say in church, but it goes back to when a child is very, very creative, that parents will put them in things that are creative, but they don't necessarily want that to be their career. You know, because they don't want them, because they've heard stories, so they don't want them to go out here and they've heard about the starving artist. You know, well, you know, you're not going to have, you know, you're not going to get a job. What are you going to do with that? And so that stigma, especially for African Americans, is like, I don't want my child to, you know, to not get a paycheck, you know, every week, every month or whatever. So I need you to go to college, or I need you to have a trade in something else that's going to pay your bills. Right. And that's because we don't really know or educated about all the different careers that they can have in that particular profession. And so what I used to tell parents in my parent meetings, you know, when I would have them at the school, I would say to them is, when you go, how many of y'all been to the movies? And they all raise their hand and say, yeah, I've been to the movies, right? And I said, well, the next time you go to the movies, what I want you to do is that I want you to sit there doing all the credits. I want you to just stay right there, and for another 5 minutes, you know, 5-10 minutes, and just look at all the credits. Don't get up until that movie, that screen is totally black again. Stay right there. And I want you to look at all of those jobs that's rolling up rolling up the screen, because that's a job that your child could go into. It changes their whole perspective.
So it's not just acting.
It's not just acting, right? You know, you understand? It's not just acting. That for your listeners out there, do that. Just go and look at all the different jobs. Whether, you know, even if they're in business, they're catering companies, you know, that's going to cater the food, right? You're going to have those types of jobs. So it's just not on stage or acting, but it's all of these behind the scenes engineers that they have. Wow. So if your child is creative and they want to be in that business, yeah, they can go to college and be just like you, Demetrius. You can go and be a musical engineer or a sound engineer, because all of those things are going to come into play when you are trying to put a product together like yourself. You need good engineers, you know. So hopefully that stigma about the arts, if they just go and look at all those different jobs, or if they go to a play, just look in that program of all the different areas, as opposed to just looking at it as they just want to be on the stage, or they just want to be in front of the camera. But it's not just that.
Now that's good. You broke it down that way, because when we look at drama, we look at movies, or we look at TV shows, we only look at the acting role. We only look at the starving actors, but we're not looking at, again, the editor. We're not looking at the cameraman. We're not looking at the people running the sounds. And you just said something key. They hire caterers. They hire people, makeup artists. They hire different people to make sure everything runs smoothly. I like how you broke that down. And if you're listening, you know, just think about what he just said, because again, it's more than the acting part. And I talked to some kids at a basketball camp. And one of the things we talked about was not how you can become a successful basketball player. I helped them. I said, look at this floor right here. You think this is a regular wooden floor, but this floor right here is designed to soak up the pressure from when you jump and when you run. And those are the people make more money than the owners of basketball teams. And, you know, I helped them see, okay, you got to look at it more from shooting the ball or even just throwing the football. Look at what goes into making sure that the athletes can have a successful game. So I'm glad you broke it down that way. But if you just tuned in, again, you're listening to Understanding the Play. I am Demetrius L. Brown. We're talking to Mr. Wendell Tabb, and he's breaking some things down that we would never think about when it comes to theater or even movies, period. But I'm going to take a break, and I'll be back. Again, I always tell you, go tell somebody. Go tell a friend. Don't tell your enemies no more. We're in a whole different climate now. So just tell your family and friends, hey, the Business Point Guard is on, and we'll be right back. The soundtrack to your next level's here. The new single, Assist, by the Business Point Guard.
Here's your assist. The Business Point Guard, he gave me an assist. The Business Point Guard, he gave me an assist.
The song Assist is motivation taken to the next level with tools that'll help you go from great to greater, and a hype beat produced by Skaz Digger. Add the hottest motivational song on the planet, Assist, to your favorite playlist today. Go to businesspointguard.com and download the soundtrack to your next level. Downtrack, I see I done messed it up. I done messed the commercial up. Download the soundtrack to your next level. Hey, again, if you just tuned in, you're listening to Understanding the Play. I have Mr. Wendell Tabb. And before we went into a break, we talked about the other areas of theater, the other areas of the movies, the other areas of production. So people always want to know the money. Is there money in these other areas? Are they six figures, or are these other areas they struggling areas? Help us understand that.
Well, you know, we have a pretty laid out, salary schedule for artists, and this is how it works. Your salary starts at 0 to whatever you want to make.
Okay.
I hope that makes sense, because there are going to be some jobs that you may take, and you may volunteer to do the work to open the door for the next $100,000 job.
Say that again, man. Say that again. Hold on. I can't let you repeat that. Repeat what you just said. In
the arts, it's easy for us to take positions sometimes that we don't get paid for. It's maybe a zero amount. It's like, you volunteering. However, that volunteer job opens the door for that next $100,000 job.
Y'all better listen.
So it's not always sometimes about how much money you make for that particular project, but is what's the value of that project. Because sometimes just, let's say if I was if I had an opportunity to be Steven Spielberg's assistant director, okay? Now I may go in and let's say if I don't get paid the amount of money I think I'm worth in that, but being his assistant director may lead to me being the director on the next project.
Man,
and that next project was a $10 million project. So sometimes you just you have to really look at things for what it's worth, and not just monetary value, but for career value. What is your career value?
So we got to understand getting in the door. I believe we've been manipulated too long to say I can't do nothing for free. I ain't doing nothing for free. I'm gifted. I'm talented. But if you ain't got nowhere to show that gift, that talent, it's useless. And I think social media, man, social media has put us in a position to believe we can do things without people. So I'm glad you brought that point up. we have to take zero sometimes to get in the door to get us to that $100,000 or $1 million position, $1 million job. Man, I'm glad you brought that up. And that's in anything, because radio, I started off in 2003 putting stickers on the car. You know, I had to put stickers on the car, but by the time I finished in 2006, I was running all three stations in the traffic department. So again, I understand what you're saying. And I wish, more people do get that point and stop being manipulated by people who never did what you did, telling you got to get this money. And if you ask them, have they done it? No, they just happen to get a whole bunch of people who are frustrated and tired and start following them. And that's how they make their money. But they never did what they're telling you not to do. So I'm glad you brought that point up. So professionally, what's next for you? Are you going to Broadway? You're starting, we see Tyler Perry really out here doing some great things. Or are you finna start your own production company, movies? What's next for Mr. Tabb?
Well, let me also clear something up on my other statement that I talked about, career value. That's a difference in understanding career value and people using you, right? So don't be used by people for their benefit, but you need to be, sometimes you have to get in the door for your own benefit. So then it's not being used. They're not using you. You are understanding the system. All right. So sometimes, don't let people take advantage of your worth. But that sometimes, well, I can do this because this is going to help my particular career status, career move. Right. And so let's talk about Broadway. When you talk about Broadway, there are wonderful, fabulous actors and actresses who have never performed on Broadway. Okay, Broadway is just another avenue for theater. It's just another avenue. It's not this is all for theater. It's because there are going to be people who may go to Broadway and be on Broadway one time and never be on Broadway again. The types of shows that you're going to get to, on Broadway, if you can get a show on Broadway, most of that is because that show is being produced by some heavy people that's pouring all this money into it to say, hey, this show is worthy to go to Broadway. But there are a lot of shows of great theater that you can see at the National Black Theater Festival, that you can see in the in theater festivals in Atlanta, of course, the one in Winston-Salem that I just mentioned, in Houston, that are shows that may never, ever go on Broadway, but is worthy to be seen and is worthy to be supported. So will I go to Broadway? If given the opportunity to direct on Broadway, absolutely. I would love the opportunity. But here again, a lot of that is going to be, someone saying, hey, here's a show that we are producing and we want you to be the director of this show. So that may happen, may not happen, but I don't base my career on whether or not, I have a show on Broadway or not. Because, here again, that goes back to producers, what type of show it is, because that's why you don't see that many African-American shows on Broadway. Because here again, the producers got to put the money to it. And if they don't want to put the money to the show, it doesn't go. Right.
So basically, let's stay right here. So everybody just see, okay, Broadway, man, people bringing these big shows. But I read a report, Broadway actually lose a lot of money. They don't make a lot of money. So basically what you're saying, Broadway is just another stamp that people, okay, if we get there, it's a good thing to be there, but that's not the mountaintop.
Right, because there are only so many theaters going to be in New York. So if you got, there are thousands of plays written, and there are thousands of plays being produced. but thousands of plays are not going to be on Broadway. So, but you may get to see those shows off Broadway, off Broadway, in your local theaters, in your town or city that you in. The bottom line is to support the arts, support great theater everywhere.
I like that.
And not just wait to say, well, I'll wait to go see Mr. Tabb show once he take it to Broadway. Well, I need those producers first, because the people who own the theater house is going to say, hey, to bring this show to this house, initially you're going to have to, you got to give us $2 million just to come to this house, before you even run the show, right? So it's a business. We have 2 lead African American producers. Now, I remember I just said 2. It's only 2.
Wow.
Lead African American producers, and Stephen C. Bird, friend of mine, they're doing just a wonderful job with Front Row Productions to open that up to more, get African Americans to be producers. But if you see certain shows going to Broadway that you go where, Color Purple was on Broadway, you got the other shows that are on Broadway. But you have to look at who these executive producers are. Oprah Winfrey. You got, Jada and Will Smith producing shows. You got Jay-Z producing shows. So these people already have the capital to get you in the house, right? They already have the capital to get you in the house. So I don't want people to not support their local theater, theaters everywhere, or independent film festivals. That's where you're going to see outstanding work from a lot of African Americans that may not ever have their work necessarily on Broadway, but they are making a difference in this world.
And I'm noticing too, a lot of high schools, they're producing some great plays. I don't know if because it's at beginning stages, it's that hunger stage, but I'm like, I'd rather sit here in these high schools and watch these plays than going to spend a lot of money on Broadway. And again, you said something key. We got to support people in their current stages, because us supporting them in their current stages even motivate people. Our support sometimes can make people be like, okay, you know what? Okay, what am I doing this for? And again, I hate that we get to that point sometimes, but your support can really help take people to that next level and help them be like, okay, man, I can really continue to do this. I can do this. And you said something, I worked the film festival in Winston-Salem when I was the marketing director for 97.1 in Greensboro. Man, I love to go to the film festivals every year. And people think actors and actresses are just these nasty, mean people. They ain't gonna speak to you. They really want to speak to you, talk to you. And again, I met some great people at the film festival. Let's help debunk that whole theory of people like yourself and actors don't really want to talk to people. Y'all don't want to be around people.
Right. Yeah. Well, talking about talking to people, let me clear up something real quick, because I want to make sure that all of my Broadway friends understand that I'm saying go support theater everywhere, including Broadway. We want you to go to New York. We want you to go there, spend that money, go see the great Broadway shows, but we are still working on diversity. We want to get more, shows, African American. They've been working on it. We in the last few years, you've seen more African American shows that went to Broadway than ever before. And so we're making progress in that. And so, but I just want people to just continue to support theater everywhere, and not just wait, and not go to your local theater to wait to see something go there to Broadway. Continue to support, because that's what's getting these actors and actresses to Broadway, is when they are supported in their local theaters. And now, in terms of who the true actor, or who the true performing artist is, in terms of that you said, well, you didn't know they were like this and they speak to you. Well, we're human beings. People want to work. People want to work. So, if they're at a festival, that's networking. That's networking. And if you're sitting somewhere and you're not introducing yourself to anyone, somebody may pass you over. So yes, people want to have conversation because they want to also introduce you to their next product, or maybe you have a product that they may be interested in. So it's very important. Now, are there divas in the industry? Oh, you better believe it. There are male and female divas in the industry. Because those are personalities, and I think anywhere you work, even at your job, regardless of what it is, you have to deal with different personalities, of people. But it's one good thing about most artists is that we normally can get along with everybody, because we see everybody a lot of times as characters.
Yeah.
So once we see them as a character, it is like, oh, now I'm gonna use her character in the next play I write. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it right there. So, but yeah, I think we're all human beings, and people do want to be able to talk to other people to get their product out.
And I tell people this too, but we never know at that moment what somebody went through, what they're going through. And, when you got 1,000 people coming up to you, want to take pictures, autographs, sometimes you are going to have that moment of like, okay, you might reach that person at the 1,001 moment, So, again, it's just, giving people their space and just understanding. But you said something key a few minutes ago. You said the word networking. How important is networking in theater, movies, and the avenues? How important is networking?
Well, it sets you up for your next job. I teach networking to my high school students. I mean, I tell them, this is why you need to go to things. This is why you need to go to events, because it generates conversation for something else that you could be in. So networking to me, could be your next job.
Yes.
So when you go places, and even if it's not, you don't want to leave your job. Like, I was at Hillside for 35 years, so I was never looking to go somewhere else to work. But I was also making myself available for independent projects, while I was there. How I created the Celebrities in the Classroom program, where all these celebrities would come to Hillside and visit the students there. That was through networking. So once I meet one celebrity, that celebrity introduces me to another celebrity. Then once I get to know them, they introduce me to another celebrity. And so before you know it, I have this whole network of celebrities around me that are giving me information on other things that I need to share with my students. And believe it or not, how this networking worked, when I used Starletta Dubois for an example, when I met her at the National Black Theater Festival, she became my ambassador for Hillside Theater, and
wow.
she was my liaison for her to bring Danny Glover to Hillside,
Wow.
and Margaret Shug Avery, from The Color Purple to Hillside when we did that, introducing me to Antonio Fargas. So, everything networking, helps all of us be able to introduce other people to people that they need to get to know. So some of my students who met Starletta ended up in a movie with Starletta.
Oh, wow.
And that became full circle for them. It's like, not only did I know you from when you came to Hillside, but look, now we're even in a movie together. And so even I did a short film with Starletta, so that's how it works. That's why networking is so important.
No, that's good. So now it's 2023. We're coming into a whole nother year. This year going by fast too, man. It's going by fast. So I'm looking right now at the site. You already have Black Nativity Durham returns to the stage December 15th through the 17th, 2023. You're marketing now. You're selling tickets right now.
Well, we're marketing right now. Like, I think the website should say tickets go on sale August 1st. If it doesn't.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. I'm bad. Did you say tickets not on sale? Yeah, okay. I just saw tickets on sale. I ain't see the not. The whole not just.
But the tickets go on sale August 1st. And the next part of marketing is that they're going to probably start doing a countdown to when tickets actually go on sale. But yes, we're marketing right now for next year, for this coming Black Nativity Durham.
That's good. So that I'm looking at this and we're talking about marketing. How's important that you take the foundations of business, just business itself, and you put it towards what you're doing theater-wise? Because theater acting, that's a form of business, but people don't look at it as it's like Walmart. It's like, Mercedes. But explain to the people how important it is to take the fundamentals of business and add it to what you're doing so that you can make money, get more people in the seats, and get more eyes there.
Right. For me, I thank God for my purpose in life, but God was the orchestrator of giving me these, wonderful parents. My mom was an educator, so that's where the education part comes from with me. And my dad was a businessman, so the business part for me came from my dad. So I put it all together as I was teaching school to say, okay, I'm going to run this theater program at Hillside just like a business. It's a business, right? And so as I ran it like a business, marketing, of course, became key. Marketing is part of, for us in theater, audience development. Too many times, a lot of high school plays or people, they only, if they can get their parents, the parents of the kid to come, the aunts, uncle, or cousins, or whatever to come, that was their extent of marketing. Tell your mom and dad, of course, they're going to come to the play, get your aunt, uncle to come, or whatever. And they were satisfied with that. Well, when I was at Hillside, I was like, no, we're going to have a business marketing plan. And that marketing plan was for us to get people that would not necessarily come to the theater to come. Who are these people that we're going to say, you don't have a child in the production, you're coming because you enjoy theater, you want to see good theater, right? So bringing all the schools in from around the state of North Carolina, when you all did Dream Girls, these chartered buses was coming in,
yes,
to see the show. And then people started like, these people are coming to Hillside to see a high school play? What's going on here? Why are these people got chartered buses coming all the way from down eastern North Carolina all the way to Durham to see a high school play? Because we valued that high school play as being professional and it was worthy. So when you give people a great product, right, then they will want to come and be a part of what is good. So, but how do they get to know about it? You got to tell them about it. You got to market it to them. I think in my classroom, you guys were back then, putting flyers in an envelope and sealing the envelope, writing the names on the outside of the envelope. Then we had to, put a stamp on it, a buck mail stamp, on the envelope. Then I would take them all to the post office in the Buck Mail Center and send it. And I always would say, if out of 100 letters that I send, if I can get 10 people to show up out of that 100, it's worth it.
Yes.
Because that's going to be 10 people that wouldn't have probably ordinarily would have come. But here's marketing, here's business sense. Out of that 10, I'm going to find somebody in there that's going to bring a group. So that one person then, instead of them coming with, one other person, Now they're going to say, well, my church is going to come. I'm going to bring my youth department. I'm going to do this. Now that those 2 people that I had looked at now turned it into 25 people.
That's good.
And if you do those 25 people, times another 25 people each time, you see how your numbers are going up. So then people start saying, all of these people are coming to Hillside to see the plays. What's going on here? What? So now I got to come. People like to know, y'all going to Hillside to see a play? A high school play? Now you get to come, people start coming to see The Wiz and The Color Purple and Dream Girls and all this stuff, and we're selling out, So like when Danny Glover came, when Danny Glover was coming, Danny Glover came, he was only for one night, but the rest of the shows were sold out. Because if Danny Glover comes to see a play or Margaret Sugar Avery comes to see The Color Purple at a high school, now that says something, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now people are like, well, I ain't going to miss The Color Purple. Let me go see. So then they start comparing it to what they saw on Broadway or what they saw in the touring show. Now they're going, oh, you all are just as good as Broadway. Well, that's what we want. We're training kids for Broadway so that when they do go to Broadway, they are prepared. So yes, marketing is part of your success based on starting at foundation of saying, let me get people that would not ordinarily come to this. Let's find a way to get them in to add to what's already there.
And let me ask you something. So a lot of schools, they dismantled the arts departments, but I believe you survived so long is because your dependency really wasn't on the school system giving money, but it was more of, I'm going to put this business in place. I'm going to get the people here. I'm going to make as much money as I can to offset. Am I correct saying that, or?
Oh yeah. And people know me. I don't mind saying it. A lot of times, you're dealing with inequity in schools as well, where one school may get funding for a certain thing and another one may not. You saw that in athletics a lot, where, some football fields, look so good that, you're like, wow. And then it makes the kid want to go there. They were like, I want to come over here and play on that. But they were dealing with this inequities of funding. So then a lot of athletic programs went to, if the school system wasn't going to do it for them, then they went to their booster clubs. And then now you have to look at the inequity in that again, because some booster clubs have the financial backing that other booster clubs don't have, right? Yeah. So for me, being at Hillside, at a, predominantly African-American school, I knew that, okay, the school system is not going to give me the funding to really run the program like I want to on a professional level that I need to. Then I'm going to seek out my drama friends. Drama friends were people who didn't have children at, necessarily in the program. Those drama friends. So having those drama friends then went out and helped me sell tickets to get people to come in. So now my revenue from ticket sales is high, which means that now I can get some of the things that I want to get. My costuming changes, right? Now I get better costumes. Okay. That's now good. Now I can bring in, I can get a technical director to come in and build a set for us, right? So you can get different things based on the funding that you have. Whereas you can go to some high school theater programs, they rent all of their costumes. Well, that's because their parents don't mind paying $300-400 for that child's costume. But that can happen at some other school.
Oh yeah.
You understand? So, but this is where the creativity kicks in. So if I got drama friends and if I got great community to support, then they are willing to come in and help us build those costumes per child.
Good. That's good.
So it makes it, so then it makes a difference. Or like when you guys were doing Dream Girls and I needed to put you guys in tuxedos, right? then I can go to a tuxedo warehouse and get all of you guys tuxedos because the funding from the drama friends was there for me to be able to go get it.
Yeah,
So that's why you need a school system.
Cause my aunt wasn't gonna give you $300 for me to get in this.
Right, you see what I mean?
She gonna be like, you can't do that no more.
You can't. Well, you see what happens? Why then there are like arts programs that are not in certain schools, they can't sustain it because if those programs doesn't look like let's say if a principal went somewhere else to see a production, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if a principal came to Hillside or other people came to Hillside to see a show and they see how professional it is, they see the wonderful set and costumes and all that. Then they go back to their school and say, hey, to their drama teacher or whatever, hey, why can't we do this? And then they looking at the principal like, I need funding. We got to fund it. You understand? So that's why I'm an advocate for equity amongst the schools because everybody doesn't have the same amount of funding, but people want the results to be the same.
Yeah,
they want results to be the same.
So, in 2 minutes, man, I want you to give us 5. The name of the show is called Understanding the Play, and we help people. We give them tools and nuggets to get to their defined level of success, and I always use that word, their defined level of success, because your success, my success, and everybody else's success don't look alike, but we want to reach different places, and everybody don't want to be a millionaire, billionaire, entrepreneur, but give us 5 tips, man, to help someone reach their defined level of success.
Yeah, well, great question. And my thought pattern is probably going to be out the box. So it may be a little different than most people would think. So the first thing is understanding that everybody's journey in the arts is not going to be the same. So some people can go right out and get in a show without ever going to college, no professional training, and get in something and make it. Those numbers are very small. Then you have other people who go to college and get into a training program, and their success is that way. Or then you may have somebody else who does all of this training, in college, but decide, hey, I want to go and do my work on a cruise ship. I just want to cruise and entertain, or they start their own solo business or production company. Well, for me, it was understanding my purpose. So I think your first tip is understanding what your purpose is, what your individual purpose is, right? And know that in my situation, that I knew that God had created me uniquely for my own purpose, right? So for me, God became my playwright. He was the playwright. He already knew my story before I knew it.
That's good.
He was my playwright. And then he put great producers in my life. And those producers were my parents who birthed me, who had me. And my parents and the producers' job was to oversee my journey, to oversee it. And then he had directors in my life. So those directors were my siblings around me. Those are the ones that I played with every day. Those are the ones that I went places with. But when I was going to get in trouble and my parents weren't around, they directed me right back on the right path. So some people, directors may be your friends, your great friends that are around you that's going to tell you the truth. That's going to say, don't do this, don't do that. You know you shouldn't be doing that, Demetrius. What are you thinking about, man? Those are the directors that you need in your life, which for me was my siblings, right? And then he gave me these what I call like your choreographers, your set designers, all these people. That became my wife and my son, the designers. How they would help me orchestrate my entire career by being there for me and allowing me to make mistakes and support me regardless. So you needed those designers, all the designers in my life. So I look at my wife and my son as my designers. And then you have the actors. The actors, with those characters, are all the people that's in your community that's going to support you and help you reach your level of success. Having great people around you in your life, because sometimes your community people or people that you work with are going to be there for you and support your vision. And then you have to understand that you need your naysayers, and I would call those my sword team, or the people that are going to always create the drama in a scene. The ones that are always going to create the drama, right? You need those people in your life as well to remind you of where you are trying to get to. They keep you honest because you know that they're trying to destroy what you're trying to do. And so then you'll always go back to what your purpose was, that playwright who created that story. And for me, that playwright was my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, who already knew what my story was going to be when he did the penmanship. So that's what
before you was in your mother's womb.
Exactly.
Man, that is good. I like, see, y'all can tell he's been in theater. See how he just took those 5 points and created a whole scene right there. That's a whole scene right there. But I loved how you broke that down, man. From God, the parents, the siblings, the community, and the naysayers. Oh man, that's great. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that for myself right there, man. So again, I want to thank you, man, for joining us. It was an honor to have you on. And again, man, I don't know if I can get in drama again in theater, but if you need some voiceover work, matter of fact, let me back up. We kept missing each other last year. I was supposed to did some voiceover for you for the Black Nativity for the commercials and stuff. So
exactly.
I'm going live on the radio now. Let people know I'm gonna be there this year. We gonna have them voices done for the play. Because again, like I said, you changed my life, man. And the funny thing is, before you go, I was walking to the ATM machine, and I was like, I need me some coffee. And I was like, okay, let me go get me some coffee first. Then I just happened to look over. I said, there go Mr. Tabb. Went over there, spoke to him. You know, we speaking. He said, what you doing? I said, man, I'm finna get my son a haircut, walking over here. He said, here. And I ain't gonna say what he blessed me. You know what I'm saying? He put something in my hand. He blessed me. I was like, nah, I'm good. He said, no, I want to bless you. I want to bless your son. That's what he said. I want to bless your son. And again, this man haven't seen me in over 30 years? And yeah. He's still blessing. So he planted a seed in my hand for my son. And this is the type of guy we're talking about. And I'm from Durham, North Carolina. And again, I grew up in Charleston, but I'm 49 years old, and I grew up in a time where community was very important, and they helped each other. People went to school with your parents or your aunts, and they invested into your life. And again, man, I really appreciate that day for you putting something in my hand to invest into my son. And now that I'm hearing you speak about God, that came from God, you know. So, you know, we just gotta give flowers while people are alive. So, man, I thank you for joining me for this, man. This was great right here. And Black Nativity Durham, the play is December the 15th through December the 17th in 2023. And let me put the website at the bottom. And if you look at the bottom, if you're looking, it is blacknativitydurham.com. Go to the site. You know, can they sign up for email notifications when the tickets go on sale?
Absolutely. They just go to blacknativitydurham.com. Make sure they say blacknativitydurham.com because black nativities are done all over the world.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
So blacknativitydurham.com is probably the biggest black nativity on the East Coast. We have anywhere from 150, 160 people in the show. It is huge, and it's always we do it at the Hillside High School Theater, which is of course now the John H. Gaddis Wendell Tabb Theater there. So please come over and check. Bring your church groups, your youth, That's important.
Man, so again, let's give it up for Mr. Wendell Tabb, the guy who changed a lot of people's lives. So, again, this is Understanding the Play. I am your host, Demetrius L. Brown, a.k.a. the Business Point Guard. Remember, it's your defined level of success, no one else. Don't let no one tell you where you need to be. Now, they can help you get there, but make sure you hear from God, understand your purpose, and you reach your defined level of success. Hey, everybody, I love you. Catch me on iHeart. You can catch me on YouTube. You can catch me on U42. And again, listen to FUBU Radio when you get a moment. Hey, I love you all. I'm out of here. Peace.